Alrighty, well, let's just go ahead and get started. So, for those of you who see us on the Facebook Live, welcome. We are going to be talking about modal verbs today. That is a whole mouthful of sound. Just to say modal verbs, it's kind of hard. But I'm here with Karu. Karu, where are you from again?
Oh, I'm from Sri Lanka.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm excited because I would love to go to Sri Lanka. But so
Yeah,
you wanted to talk about modal verbs. What can you kind of tell me like what is the difficulty with them for you?
yeah. Actually, I don't know the usage of modal verbs, and I know what are the modal verbs like would, could, and all, but I don't know the exact usage of modal verbs.
Okay. All right, and that's okay. Exactly. And that's what we're here for. So I do want to say that modal verbs specifically, there's like a beginner level to modal verbs, and then there's an intermediate level. So I'll try to make that distinction. I'll try to just kind of point that out as I can. But we've got Teresa watching us on the Facebook Live. Hello. I love it because Teresa joins us pretty much every Facebook Live that we have. So I love it. So if you guys are watching us on the live, make sure you say hello in the chat. And then, of course, you're welcome to ask questions, answer questions in the chat. You can participate with us as much as possible as well. Karu, I was telling you before I started the live that modal verbs are a lot. They, at the simple, basic, maybe beginner level, it's a little bit, it's not so much. But once you start really practicing and learning them, then it just kind of, it's a whole lot. So I want to just go ahead and get started. Yeah, that way we don't take up too much time. And Karu, I already mentioned this. If you have any questions, honestly, just go ahead and ask them. Okay, just interrupt
Sure,
me and
sure.
just, it's fine. No big deal. Alrighty. So first and foremost, what are they, right? What are modal verbs, and then how do we use them? So this list here are your basic modal verbs: can, may, must, shall, will, could, might, should, and would. Now you asked me specifically, well, when do I use? I think it was may and might, and then what was the other one that you asked me about? I have it written down here. Yeah. Anyway, you asked me specifically about like specific modal verbs, so we are gonna go over those. Oh, I have it right here in front of me. You asked me specifically about will and would, and then may and might, right?
Yes.
Um, so we are gonna go over those because those are the ones that you want to go over, and that's perfectly fine. But just so you know, there are two main ways to use modal verbs. The first one is to show if we believe something is certain, possible, or impossible. So if we believe something is certain, we would say something like, my keys must be in the car. Like, I know for a fact my keys are in the car. Yeah, that would be the certain. It might rain tomorrow. We would say if it's something that's possible. You know, maybe we see a cloudy day, or maybe we've seen um, the news report, right? So, oh, it might rain. Like, that's kind of possibility. But then we also have impossibility, where there's no way, there's no chance that something can happen. And that would be something like, that can't be Peter's coat. It's too small. Yeah, obviously, if the coat is too small, it's not going to fit him because it's too small, right? And then the second
Yes.
way that we use modal verbs is to talk about ability, ask permission, and to make requests and offers. So ability is more when you are able to do something. So like the example here, I can't swim. That's me literally, I'm not able to swim. I don't know how to swim, is what that would be. If you want to ask for permission, you would say, may I ask a question? So I'm asking for permission to ask the question, right? To make a request, so like you give to me, right? Could I have some tea, please? Would be the example there. And if you want to give to others, for example, in an offer, would you like some help? Does that make sense a little bit? I just
Yes.
I
Yes.
just threw everything at you. Do you have any questions about these two main ways to use modal verbs? First of all, Karu.
permission, to make permission and request.
Yeah, to ask for permission and make requests. Yeah, so asking for permission. Imagine, like when you're a little kid and you want to ask your mom, Mom, can I go to my friend's house? You're asking her for permission, right, to go to your friend's house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that would be ask permission. Like, can I go to my friend's house? May I drink some water? Yeah, it's kind of can and may in that sense.
Yeah.
Technically,
And usually in our school time, we used to say, "May I go to the toilet?" Actually, without knowing the exact
yeah.
usage of modal verbs.
Yeah, no, and that's okay. And it's funny because here in the US, and even when I was in school when I was younger, I noticed it was probably in high school or so that I don't know, that's just the first time I remember hearing this, where, or maybe it was middle school actually, where like all through elementary and primary school when we were little, we would say, "Oh, may I go to the restroom? May I go to the restroom?" Or "Can I go?" Right? I think we would say, "Can I go?"
Yeah.
And then it wasn't
Yes.
until like middle school, I think was the first time I think it was when this happened, that I had a teacher say, "You don't say 'Can I go?' because you can go, but you may not." Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I first heard that, I was like, "Whoa, what are you saying to me right now? What does this mean?" And so that was the very first time that I learned, and this is middle school, right? Secondary school, when I
Yeah.
learned that the difference between can and may in an asking permission sentence, right? Because
Yes.
you can say both of them and we'll understand both of them, but grammatically, may is correct because you're asking for permission, we use may. Can is showing ability, like it says here. Like, can I go to the bathroom? Yeah, of course you can go, but you may not. Like, you don't have permission to go. And that's what my teacher was telling me. So when you're asking permission, it's may. Um, if you want to be grammatically correct, we use may. But just so you know, in American English, if you say can to ask permission, we will understand you. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. And then the other one you mentioned was to make requests. Yeah?
Sorry?
The other one you mentioned was to make requests. This one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so to make a request is when you make a request, it's kind of like you are asking for something, or you are, yeah, you're asking for something essentially. So it could be something physical, like, can I request that book from you? Yeah, that would be like, give me the book, essentially. But that's more of a request. And even in that sentence, I said can, and I don't think we'll have enough time to go over can and could. But that's basically, you'll kind of notice the pattern between the will, may, can versus would, might, could. One is a little bit more formal, one is informal, one is more polite, one is past tense of the other. I'll go into that a little bit. But yeah, when you're making requests, it's usually more in a polite way. So, could I have some tea, please? Could I request that book for you? From you, sorry. Like in the first sentence, I said, "Can I request that book from you?" It's correct grammatically. It's still correct, but it does sound a little bit more informal. So if I were to say, "Could I request that book from you?" then it would be a little bit more polite, just a little bit nicer. Yeah.
Yeah. That means could, would, and may are very polite, but
Yeah.
can are some informal thing.
Exactly, yeah. So will, may, can are usually a little bit more informal, and would, might, and could are more formal, more polite. And then they could also be the past tense depending on how you're using it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Alan, Karina Dulanjali Chare, I think I said your name right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Like I said at the beginning, if you guys have any questions, make sure you type them into the chat. As I'm explaining, I continue looking at the chat. So ask your questions there. And then, for example, here, Karu, let's see how well we kind of understood these. Everyone watching us on Facebook Live, of course, you are welcome to answer these questions as well in the chat, okay? So, Karu, are you ready?
Yes,
All right, let's
I'm
do
ready.
it. Okay, so the question is, will you come with me, please? So in this sentence, will is the modal verb. Would it show, does this question show certainty or does it show willingness? Like, I am willing to go, come with you, please.
Yeah, it shows the willingness.
Willingness, right? Very good. So this is kind of what I was telling you earlier, Karu. With modal verbs, there's like a beginner ish sense to modal verbs, but then there's also an intermediate and even a little bit more advanced. Modal verbs are um, the use and the actual modal verbs. I'll show you here. So these actual words, I would say that they are very beginner. Like, you can just learn these and then you learn them and you use them, right? But the actual learning of how to use them, I think it's a little bit more intermediate, and that's where this comes in, right? Where you have to just understand, what does certainty mean? What does willingness mean? Yeah, that kind of vocabulary. So if you don't know what any of these options means, Karu, just let me know and I will try to explain it to you
Sure.
without giving you the answer though. Okay, so will you come with me, please? That is willingness. Like, yeah, sure, you kind of want to come with me. Yeah, kind of like that. Very good, but it's actually certainty. Wait, will you come with me, please? Yeah, that is, I think that was my mistake, actually. I'm going to have to correct that. You're right. It is willingness. It's not certainty. Certainty is more, I am certain, like the example above, that my keys are in the car, meaning I know that they are. This question, that
Yeah.
is my mistake. I'm sorry, Caro. It is willingness. You got that one right. Let's try another one, though. Hopefully, I got the correct answer on this one. That man can't be a doctor. He looks too young. So is it impossibility, like it's not possible, or is it prohibition, like you're not allowed?
What's the question? I can't see the screen.
Oh, that's kind of weird because I'm sharing. Here, let me stop my sharing and then
Yeah,
share again.
yeah, now okay.
Okay, can you see it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. So this is the question. That man can't be a doctor. He looks too young. Is it impossibility or is it prohibition?
It's impossibility.
Nice. Yeah, okay, good. I clicked the right answer. Good. Exactly. Yeah, he can't be a doctor. If he looks too young, maybe he's like, let's say 20 years old, he can't be a doctor. It's not possible. He has to go to doctor school and get his medical license and all of this and all of that, right? So you need time to be a doctor. Very nice. Very good. And obviously, I see some mistakes here. That should not be a quote. This needs to be capitalized. I apologize for that. That's just me noticing my own mistakes, but I will correct them. Let's try one more though. I'm just writing to say congratulations on your engagement. You must be really happy. So is this certainty or is this obligation?
It's about certainty because must is there.
Yeah, nice. I think you are doing really well. Exactly. Certainty. Let me check that there. Yeah, certainty, because you must be happy, right? Like, why would you be sad that you just got engaged? That doesn't make sense. Like, of course you're happy. Exactly. I love it. Very good. Alrighty, let's go ahead. So you asked specifically about will and would and may and might. So I do want to go into those a little bit more. Just so you know, this is kind of where we get into the part of grammar where you have to just kind of I kind of don't want to say memorize, but you just kind of have to memorize when we can use these. So I'll go ahead and explain them in a little bit down below here. But basically, if you just remember this part, this little summary here, I think we can try and it might be okay. I think you might be okay. So anyway, I'll just dive into it. So will we use to express beliefs about the present or the future. So I will go to the mall, maybe, right? So it's I believe I'm gonna go to the mall, but maybe I might not go. I don't know. We also use will to talk about what people want to do or are willing to do, and we had an example sentence about that. So willingness. To make promises, offers, and requests, and we kind of talked about that as well. And then we
Yes.
also use will in conditionals to say what we think will happen. That's either in the present or the future. And I'll explain all of this a little bit more. Would, though, is the past tense of will. And because it is the past tense of will, we use it obviously to talk about the past. But then we also use it to talk about hypothesis. So what we imagine something to happen. And then also for conditionals. And like I said, would is just for politeness, to be nice. Yeah. So,
Yeah, got it.
perfect. So in beliefs, an example sentences, right, would be John will be in his office. Even though will we learn when we're starting to learn the different tenses, we usually learn will to be a future tense, right? Like I will go to the store. That's future tense because I will go maybe tomorrow or tonight or next week. But this is where English gets fun and interesting. Um, when we add the be to will, it signifies present tense, meaning he will be in his office, as in we think he's there, kind of. Yeah, does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But then if you want to signify future, we will be late, right? Meaning in the future tense. So we're going to a concert, we'll be late. Like we're going to arrive late to that concert. And then, of course, future tense, we will have to take the train. Again, next week, we will have to take the train, kind of thing. So even though it's all will be, will have to, it all sounds future. Depending on the context of the sentence and of the just the conversation, maybe it could be present or it could be future. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's just weird, right? It's weird. So
Yeah, English is always like that.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
in one situation we can use it present, and in other situation we can use in future. That's what we confuse.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I completely agree. And this is why teaching English grammar is so difficult because there's no one clear. This is the rule, right? And this is how
Yeah.
you use will, and that's the only way. We use a lot of words in English in many ways, and so I completely understand. It's hard to. I can understand it being difficult to learn because it's difficult to teach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is why I was saying, again, I'm just going to repeat it. This is why I was saying modal verbs are kind of beginner level, but definitely more intermediate level when you start to learn how to use them. So it's just, it's just learning. It's just learning and practice, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. With the practice only we can get the idea about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so I mean I think everyone learns a little bit different. And so if it works for you to just memorize will beliefs and present tense and future tense and just memorize the rules, then hey, go for it, right? Just memorize the rules and then you're learning. But if it helps you to just actually practice, and that's why I love the Monday speaking practices that we do, because
Yeah.
that's your chance to actually practice what you are possibly learning on your own. And so I prefer to practice to get better versus just like sitting down and like reading, all the rules, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into would. So would is the past tense of will, and these again are to describe past beliefs about the future. So the sentence would be, I thought we would be late, so we would have to take the train. So if you notice, thought is the past tense. So let's say yesterday, I had this thought yesterday that we would be late. So even if the would be late and having to take the train was, for example, this morning, and that's still past tense. It's future tense to the thought. So I'll pull out my little whiteboard so you can kind of see a little visual of this. So say this is, can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see.
All right, so this is today, right now, yeah? Let's say this is yesterday, this side. So this is when we have, yesterday is when we had the thought, which is past tense to today, obviously. But then we
Yes.
had the thought about maybe this morning. Yeah. So this morning is still past tense to today, but it's
Yeah.
future tense to when we had the thought. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So that's when we would use would, basically. Hopefully I don't need to use that because I'm gonna have to erase it. But yeah, so that's one example of when we would use would as a belief. As willingness, which is one of the questions that we answered in the last slide.
Yes.
We can use will to talk about what people want to do or are willing to do, right? So we'll see you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow. So even though that sounds very certain, like we will see you tomorrow or I will see you tomorrow, it's actually more willingness because it's more of I want to see you tomorrow versus I am going to see you tomorrow because that's the plan or whatever that might be. It's actually willingness is all I'm saying. The other example would be perhaps dad will lend me the car. Yeah, will lend, meaning I will borrow my dad's car. Yeah, so like showing wanting to do or willing to do, basically. If we want to talk about typical behavior, like normal behavior, things that we often do, because again, we are willing to do them, we could also use will. And an example sentence would be, we'll get up early every morning and have a quick breakfast, then we'll go across the road to the beach. Yeah, so again, it's normal behavior because they're actions that we want to take. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just ask questions. Don't worry about that. Would again is the past tense of will. So kind of like will in this situation to explain things that we want to do or are willing to do. Would be things that we wanted to do or were willing to do in the past. So we had a terrible night. The baby wouldn't go to sleep, right? So the terrible night happened last night, and last night the baby didn't want to go to sleep. He wouldn't go to sleep. So again, that's just past tense. A follow-up to the will sentence, dad wouldn't lend me the car, so we had to take the train. Yeah? And then if we want to talk about...
that's also past.
Exactly. And then if we want to talk about typical behavior or like normal things that we do every day, they'd get up early every morning and have a quick breakfast. They'd run across the road to the beach. They would get up early. They would run across the road. Yeah, that again is past tense.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. What is the difference between going to and will? Dulanjali wants to know in the chat. Caro, do you know the difference between going to and will?
Will we use to get permission request or that kind of thing, but is going to be used as planned situation?
There you go. I couldn't have said it better. Will has all of these uses, right? All of these that I'm going over. And going to is exactly that. That is the plan. Kind of like I've kind of already said it in examples. I will see you tomorrow, or I'm going to see you tomorrow. They both have very similar meanings, as in seeing you tomorrow, for example. But if I say I will see you tomorrow, that's more of me wanting to see you tomorrow versus I'm going to see you tomorrow. It means that there's a plan. Like And maybe when you're talking to your friends, oh, see you tomorrow, I'll see you later. There's some sort of plan because maybe you have plans to go to dinner tomorrow or breakfast or something like that. Yeah, so that's where going to and will, they do have very similar meanings, and um, in at least American English, they are understood interchangeably. So if you say if you say I'm going to see you tomorrow, or yeah, I'm going to see you tomorrow, even if there's no plan, it's okay. We understand. Oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Then even if I don't see you tomorrow, we understand it as will, as a wanting, but then it didn't happen, and that's okay. So that's kind of where it is. Um, Nagina? Nagina? Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me if I'm saying your name right. Nagina, what time we can say could and which time we can say can? That's later on, Nagina, over here. Can and could. I don't know that I'm going to have the chance to go over them, but um, I really don't think I'm going to have the chance to go over them because there's so much to cover for will, would, may, and might, which is what Karu wants to talk about. But if I have time, remind me in the chat and I can just give you a really quick, brief description of them. Dulanjali, thank you so much. Now it's clear. Very good. I'm happy. Let's continue on though. So, to make promises, offers, and requests, right? We use will when we want to make a promise or an offer. So I'll give you a lift home after the party. Like I'll give you a ride. And again, this is kind of tapping into the going to that Dulanjali asked about, kind of being a plan. Um, in this situation, it's more of a promise. It's more of, I'll I'll give you a ride to work tomorrow. It's kind of a plan, yes, but it's also a promise. And so this again, I feel like I'm saying the same words, but this is where I'm saying this is more intermediate level stuff because if you don't understand the difference between a plan and a promise, then I gotta reel it back and explain that vocabulary. um, but anyway, so I will give you a cookie tomorrow. That's a promise. We'll come and see you next week. Again, that's a promise. And so, what really helps to actually identify the situation or the type of use, like up here, for these modal verbs is all of, hey, highlight this, is all of this, or is all of this. So it's not just the modal verb itself, it's everything that comes before and after that modal verb that tells you, oh, he's not planning to see me tomorrow, he's promising to see me tomorrow. Yeah. So this is where context clues help. So if you're reading these modal verbs, like in a book or a magazine or wherever, it's not so much, oh, what does will mean? It's more of what does will mean in this sentence or in this paragraph or in this article, or even in speaking. It's not so much, oh, what did she say? Why did she say can and not could? It's more of like what made sense in the story she was telling you. Does that make sense, Carl?
Yes,
Okay, good.
it's clear.
Okay, very good. And then, of course, if you want to use would to make a promise, offer, or request, I feel hair here. I'm sorry. If you want to use would for a promise, offer, or request, it's typically going to be used in a question, kind of like this. So, will you carry this for me, please? Or would you carry this for me, please? Either way, they're both understood. But would you carry this for me, please, is a little bit more polite. It's just a little bit more nice. You could
Yes.
say, will you carry this for me, please? And that's okay. You're saying please, you're asking a question, and that's still nice. But would is just nicer. So, or, of course, would you be quiet? Even if you don't say please, would you be quiet? Or would you please be quiet, right? Or would you be quiet, please? You can put the please anywhere you want, really. But the would just makes it sound nicer, is really all it is. All right. In hypotheses and conditionals. So hypotheses are things that we imagine happening, or it's not so much a plan, like it's not something that is for sure going to happen or we're planning to happen. It's more of like, oh, I think we're gonna do this weekend, right? I'm hypothesizing. Um, so, for example, when we want to use will in conditionals to say what we think will happen in either the present or the future, would be I'll give her a call if I can find her number, or you won't get in unless you have a ticket. The won't is the negative of will, just so we know, because I think this is the first time we're seeing it. But sorry, Najina, would you like this color? Yeah, exactly. Would you like this color? That works as well. Very good. Yeah, so but when we're using will to hypothesize something about the present or the future, I'll give her a call if I can find her number. So it's kind of the condition, right? The condition is that if I find her number, I'll give her a call. But if I don't find her number, I won't give her a call. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah?
That means only if I have the number, I can call her.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you don't have her number, how can you call her?
Yeah.
Good. And then would in a hypothesis or conditional situation, it could be, again, would is past tense, so it's typically past tense for will. It would be very expensive to stay in a hotel, right? So even though here in this situation it's not specifically past tense, it's more imagining. Say we're going to Dubai next week, and it would be expensive to stay in a hotel in Dubai, right? But I haven't done the research. I haven't looked into how much hotels cost. I'm just imagining. I just think that it's going to be expensive. And even the way that I just said it, it's going to be expensive to stay in a hotel. Again, this is where I think we talked about it with Can and May, I think. Yeah, with Can and May, go to the restroom. They're interchangeable. They're super understandable across native English speakers. Just grammatically, though, would be the grammatically correct way of saying that. Yeah. Do you have any questions so far,
Yeah.
Caro?
No, it's everything clear. Actually, today I got to know about the exact meaning of this hypothesis and conditional. I know we can use this in conditional, but I exactly get to know about this today.
Okay.
Yeah, I just memorized that we can use this in conditionals and likewise. But now I know the situations.
Nice. Yeah. So conditionals, just the word conditional, just the word alone, right? Not thinking of the grammar that's attached to conditionals. The word alone has at least two meanings. So condition, right, meaning the status of something. So what is the condition of my cell phone? It's dead because it doesn't have battery, right? The condition. But then condition also has the meaning of, like in the sentence, I'll give her a call if I have her number. The condition being, if I have her number, I'll give her a call. But if I don't have her number, I won't give her a call. So when you're talking about conditionals in grammar, that might help a little bit. Well, is this a condition like a situation, or is this a condition like a status of something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, good explanation.
Nice, of course. Very good. And of course, using would in conditionals, right? I would give her a call if I could find her number. I want to show both sentences. I would give her a call if I find her number. I will give her a call if I find her number. Again, either way, it's interchangeable. I would say that I will give her a call is a little bit more certain in this hypothesis. But I would give her a call is maybe. It's more like that. Yeah, so then of course conditionals, these are all the type of conditionals where one action is depending on the other, right? What if he lost his job? What would happen then? Yeah, or if he got a new job, he would probably make more money. So, but if he doesn't get a new job, he's not going to make more money. So that's where the conditional is. That's where the condition is.
Yeah.
But then we also use conditionals to give advice. So Dan will help if you ask him. Dan would help if you ask him. Again, will, would, interchangeable, super understandable. And then also, we already talked about this, past tenses are usually more polite. So across the board, would, might, and could, even if it's, typically it'll be used as a past tense, and it will sound more polite. So Dan would help if you asked him. Asked being the past tense, kind of what we showed earlier. Right? So this is today. Asking was yesterday, for example, and then he will help here, for example, right? So the asking takes place in the past, but it's still the actual helping is in the future of the asking, but it's still all in the past of today.
Past. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Hopefully these drawings help. I'm a visual learner, so I like to draw things, and hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, it's very clear when we have those kind of charts.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. Okay. Whew. Whew, we're already at 37. Okay. Expressions, though, with would, and this is something I definitely did want to include, because when it comes to expressions and idioms, sometimes we don't, they may or may not follow the grammar rules, right? So here I wanted to list some expressions for you. For example, would you or would you mind doing, would you mind going, right? Whatever the verb is, or even the negative. Would you mind not snoring tonight? That kind of thing. Would you carry this for me? Would you mind carrying this? Would you mind not telling him until tomorrow? This would be an expression for requests. If you want to use an expression for offers and invitations, would you like to, would be the expression. If you want to say what we want or what we want to do, we use I would like, or the actual expression is would like, or I would like you to. Yeah, that's again wanting. I would like, for example, I would like to go home now. That's, hey, I want to go home, right?
Yeah.
If you were to change that and say I would like you to give me the book. I have books in front of me, so that's my example for today. I would like you to give me that book. That's more of a request. And even though we're using would, it does sound more polite than if I said will. I will like you to give me that book. But it's still kind of direct versus if you phrase it in a question, would you give me that book, please? That is even more polite. Yeah, so
Yeah.
just more expressions. I'd rather or I would rather, to say something that we prefer. I would rather drink water versus soda. I would rather go to the beach than go to the pool. Yeah, I would rather, meaning a preference. And then we've also got I would think and I would imagine, or I would guess. All of these expressions give an opinion. They give an opinion when we're not sure about something, right? Or it could also be when we just want to be polite. So, for example, I would imagine it's very difficult to learn English. Yeah, like, oh, I think it's difficult. I don't really know, but I want to be nice. So, I'm just going to say it like that. Or I would think that's the right answer. Yeah, that could be this sentence specifically. I imagine it. If you said it with one tone, it can be kind of rude and sarcastic. But if you say it with another tone, it sounds polite. So if I say, oh,
Yeah.
I would think that's the right answer, then that sounds a little bit nice, right?
Yeah.
But what if I said, I would think that's the right answer? That's kind of like,
That's rude.
yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? Can you just imagine someone asking you, hey, what's the answer to, this problem or this or whatever? Oh, I would think that's the right answer. Like, oh, duh, obviously that's the answer. That's kind of the feeling that I got. So just
Yeah.
across the board when we're speaking, our tone matters greatly. So even if we're using the correct grammar and the correct words and all of that, just keep that in mind. The tone matters, right? So
Yeah.
let's there's a whole lot of options here. Something to drink is the last one, yeah. So let's just try and do a couple, see how you feel about this, and then Let's go into may and might. We'll probably go into closer to an hour because we're already at 40 past the hour, but I still want to practice. So, Karu and everyone watching us on the Facebook Live, of course, you're welcome to put in your answers in the chat. So, if I were to say, I would like, see our holiday photos. I would like have a cup of tea. I would like taking your shoes off. I would like then anywhere else. Show me some ID. About 50. Finish this book. A glass of water. Making so much noise. She's having some lunch. She's asleep. Something to drink. What do you think completes this sentence? I'd like or I would like.
Oh.
I know it's a lot of options.
Can I add some preposition like to?
Nope. If you add prepositions, of course, more of these could be the right answer. But in this specific sentence, don't add prepositions. Just go straight for what ending makes sense to this beginning of the sentence. So for those of you watching us on the Facebook Live, I'd like or I would like, choose your ending.
Yeah, I think the right answer is I would like something to drink.
Something to drink, all right. I will just say, Karu, Dulanjali agrees with you, something to drink. Karina says a glass of water. Karina, keep in mind the question mark. Yeah. But Karu, you say the sentence is, I'd like something to drink. And you are actually correct. Exactly. So that's why punctuation marks are super important in writing, right? If it has a period, there's just a statement. If it's got a question, obviously it's a question. You see a comma here, right? So then obviously this cannot be at the end of a sentence. You can't end a sentence with a comma. So I was a little bit hesitant. I will tell you that. I didn't want to include the punctuation marks, but I thought no, because those help, right? Especially when in writing. It's just helpful. Let's do one more. Would you like is the beginning of the sentence and then all of the same exact options. Would you like? What do you all think on Facebook Live? Type them into the chat as well. Would you like?
Would you like a glass of water?
Would you like a glass of water? I just made it a little bit bigger so we can see it. See, now we can't see all of the options, but that's okay. Would you like a glass of water? Very good. Nicely done, Karu. Yeah. So see how even if you don't know the rules, this is what I say, I think every single Facebook Live that I do, we listen to language first and then we produce language, right? So we speak or we write. Just trust that you are actually learning, even if you don't know what the rule is. Yeah? You got both of these right already. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, when we listen this day-to-day conversation, it's deposited in our minds.
Exactly, yeah. Very good. All right, let's go into may and might. And again, I'm just going to zoom right through this because, of course, there's a whole lot for may and might as well. All right. Here we go. So we use may when we are not sure about something, right? In the present or the future. For example, Jack may be coming to see us tomorrow, so he might come. We're not sure. So when we're not sure about something in the past, in the present or the future. But then we can also use may to ask for permission. So it's kind of like can, and this is where I forget who asked about this earlier, can and could. We could also compare may and can, which we did earlier with the may I go to the bathroom, may I go to the restroom, or can I go to the restroom. May is to ask for permission in a formal way. So again, we can say can, but can is ability and it's informal, right? So even though it's understood, may would be grammatically correct. To ask for permission in a formal way. Or we can use may to give permission, again in a formal way. You may go now. So this is the best example I can do for this is a student teacher. A student May I go to the restroom? Teacher, you may go to the restroom. It's all very formal, right? They're not friends, so they're not being informal. And
Yes.
also to say that someone has permission in a formal way. So students may travel for free. They have permission, right? They're allowed to travel for free. Another one would be like, my son may go to the mall with his friends, right? Like he has permission to go to the mall with his friends. The other one would be may not. So the negative now, to refuse permission. So to say that someone doesn't have permission is not allowed. You may not borrow the car until you can be more careful with it. So you're not allowed to take my car until I know that you can be careful. Or students may not wear jeans. Yeah, like they're just not allowed to wear jeans at school, for example. Yeah. So these are all of the ways that we can use may. So just really quickly, when we're not sure about something, to ask for permission, to give permission, when someone has permission, and may not, to refuse permission. Might is when we are not sure about something in the present or the future. So if you notice, I'll scroll back up. When we are not sure about something in the present or the future. This is grammar.
Yeah. Again, the same problem, the confusing one.
Exactly, yeah. So might, like would, might, and could, they're past tense typically, and they're more polite typically, normally, right? So again, even though it has the same use, just more polite. So I might see you tomorrow, right? That's different than I will see you tomorrow. I am going to see you tomorrow. So might see you like, oh, I'm not really sure if I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you. It's like, yes, I have a plan. I may see you tomorrow. Again, I'm just not really sure, but maybe I'm a little bit more sure yes than no. Both of these are understandable. We understand both of these, okay?
If we use one question, if we use maybe, the verb should be in ing form, right?
Yes. Yes. Did I don't know if maybe, yeah, here. Not necessarily, not always, of course, but typically yes. So this would be an example here. She may be tired. Yeah. Another way of saying the same sentence would be, instead of she's had no sleep, she may be tired, you could say she may be sleeping because she's had no sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just whichever way that you want to say it, and of course they have the same meaning. It's literally just however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Might, so not sure about something. So now this is kind of where I mentioned that modal verbs could be very beginnerish or it can be kind of intermediate. If you add have to the modal verb, so like may or might, in this situation, it's to make a guess about the past. So, I haven't received your letter. It may have got lost in the post. It may have gotten lost in the post. Whichever one, again, that's a whole other Facebook Live for you. But, or it's 10 o'clock. They might have arrived by now. So, the arrival is in the past. How do I explain this? Oh, you're really getting me, Karu, with this modal verbs. For example, this sentence, right? It's 10 o'clock now. They might have arrived by now. So the might have is they arrived before 10 o'clock. So like
10 o'clock. Yeah.
So like 10 o'clock now, but they should have already arrived. So the arrival should have already taken place. That's as best as I can explain it. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
No, it's clear.
Okay.
It's very clear.
Good. And then, of course, might as the past tense of requests with may, right? So he asked in the past if he might borrow the car. Yeah, so the asking took place in the past. Or they wanted to know if they might come later. Again, the wanting to know took place in the past.
Yeah.
And then, of course, might as a polite way of asking for permission. Might I ask you a question? might I go to the bathroom real quick? Yeah, that's kind of how I picture it. Just, might I go to the bathroom real quick versus may I go to the restroom? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's also a facial expression. I don't know. That's just me though. Yeah, and so then when we want to use questions and negatives, we ask questions or we make questions, right? By putting the subject after the may or the might. So may I, might I, may you give me that book, please? Might you give me that book, please? Yeah, something like that. And then, of course, the negative forms are may not and might not. Yeah?
Yeah.
Kind
It's
of?
clear.
A little bit. I know. I super zoomed through this, and that's because I don't want to go more than an hour today. Because then it's just, it's just talking and it's a lot. And modal
Yeah.
verbs really are a lot. It's a lot of information. But I wanted to at least cover the two main comparisons that you wanted to talk about. And so I know for sure I'm not going to get into can and could. But if you kind of start to see a pattern here, will, may, might, think generally, informal, and present future tense, and then would, might, could, generally, formal, polite, past tense. It's typically how we can kind of group them together. Let's go ahead and do a little practice though with may and might.
Yes.
Here we go. I'm not sure, but I think my camera blank broken. So my camera may be broken, my camera might be broken, may have started, may have broken, might have broken. May I have, might I have, may make, may not wear. Let me make this a little bit smaller so that we can see all of the answers. There we go. So just the sentence one more time. I'm not sure, but I think my camera blank broken. Here are your options. Those of you watching us on the Facebook Live, of course, you are welcome to answer as well. Karu, what do you think?
Yeah. Actually, I think the answers will be maybe or might be, but yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think my camera may be broken.
Maybe because I am is the present tense.
Mm-hmm. So maybe?
Yes.
Alrighty, let's see. Very good, yes. And actually you are correct. Might be could also be right. And so this is where,
Yes.
remember, maybe, may and might kind of flow, just like will and would kind of flow if you use one instead of the other. Grammatically, oh no, you said it wrong, but we understood it. So this is exactly one of those examples as well. I'm not sure, but I think my camera may be broken. Or I'm not sure, but I think my camera might be broken. Both of those are understood. Both of those are technically grammatically correct. Yeah?
Yes.
Nice. And actually, Flor de Lis Ortega. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that in Spanish, but it sounds very Spanish and I love it. Also said might be. And then Asís said yes, maybe. She agreed with you. Let's do one more. I don't know where your gloves are. They blank in the kitchen. So one more time. I don't know where your gloves are. They blank in the kitchen. And these are your options here. There you go.
In this also we can use maybe and might be.
Nice.
I would go for might be.
Might be, okay. Yeah, let's see here. And of course, you are correct, exactly. They are both correct. Maybe, they may be in the kitchen, they might be in the kitchen, of course. Examples, yeah? Nice, very good. Do you have any last questions, Karu?
No, actually everything is very clear and very informative. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
No, of course, of course. And so even though yet and though are not technically modal verbs, I know you asked me about them, so I can go ahead and go over them really quickly as well if you want.
If you can.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I prepared for this. Okay, so how to use though. Though can be used as a conjunction at the beginning of a sentence. So, though I don't usually drink coffee, I've had 2 cups today. So, here it's more when you use though at the beginning of the sentence, it is to contrast 2 different ideas in the same sentence, basically. So it's kind of like, even though I don't drink coffee, I have had 2 cups today, right? So they're kind of opposite ideas,
Yeah.
is kind of how I can explain it. Really quick, I do also want to mention though, although, and even though, pretty much the same word. Yeah, so if you use one, you can most likely use one of the other 2 as well.
Yeah.
At the end of a sentence, Flor is asking, how can I use it at the end? Right here. At the end of a sentence, it takes on the same meaning as anyway, regardless, and nonetheless. So, for example, with thank you, I think this is the most common way to use though at the end of the sentence. It's, for example, if you have one person say, if you're at a restaurant, right, and you have one person say, would you like something to drink? You know, you're at the restaurant, you're the guest, and you say, oh, I've just had some water, thanks though. You could also say, I've just had some water, thanks anyway. It's the same meaning. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's at the end. So at the end, it takes on the same meaning as anyway, regardless and nonetheless, if you can remember those as well. I think another example I could probably give you. So if you are having a conversation with a friend and she says, "Oh, let's go. Let's go to the beach. It's hot now, so I'm thinking beach and pool, right?" So if she says, "Oh, let's go to the beach," and you say, "Oh, I want to go to the pool though." Yeah. So that again is kind
Yeah.
of is contrasting what she's saying, not necessarily contrasting my sentence.
Yeah.
Now we could also use
Now I got it.
yeah. Now you could also use though instead of however or but. And this is where, if you're using it in this way, you can like you see in the examples here, you can have it at the beginning, in the middle, or the end. So it would be something like, though I don't usually drink coffee, I've had 2 cups today. Or, I don't usually drink coffee, though I've had 2 cups today. Or, I don't usually drink coffee, I've had 2 cups today though. All the same meaning. And this is kind of like, I think I said please in an example before, where you can put please at the beginning, in the middle, or the end. This is kind of the same situation. Not that please means however or but, it doesn't. But it's just using it as an example. Yeah, so if you want to use it, if you want to use though as however or but, yeah, it can be placed anywhere in the sentence, essentially. If you want to use it with the word as, it would be, he acted like he was angry. Sorry, totally lost my train of thought there. Let me just backtrack. If you want to use though with the word as, it means the same as the word like. And now I just have to say this. I strongly dislike the word like when it's used in this way, because there's so many other words you can use, and I feel that like is used way too much. I don't know if you've heard people, oh, I went to the like beach and like we had drinks and like, and I'm over here like, stop saying like. But anyway, so this is one situation where we can get rid of that word like, when we can change it for as though. So instead of saying he acted like he was angry, we can say he acted as though he was angry. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how well this makes sense to you. He doesn't like flying, but he enjoyed his trip to Italy last year. So which one of these 3 sentences has the same meaning? And I'll make it a little bigger. Bam, look at that. Oh, that's so nice. Okay. So A, he doesn't like flying, though he enjoyed his trip to Italy last year. B, though he doesn't like flying, but he enjoyed his trip to Italy last year. Or C, he doesn't like flying as though he enjoyed his trip to Italy last year. What do you think? And those of you on
Um,
Facebook Live, of course, A, B, or C. 1, 2, or 3. But Karu, what do you think?
yeah, I think the second option is correct.
So, though he doesn't like flying, but he enjoyed his trip to Italy last year.
Yes.
Alrighty. I don't see. Okay, I see one vote for number 3, one vote for number 1. Let's see it. The correct answer
Oh my
is
God.
actually the first one. Yeah. So if remember, we've got the word but here. So though is in place
Uh-huh.
of the but, right? He doesn't like flying. He doesn't like flying. Though, but he enjoyed his trip to Italy last year. Blah 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 blah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. I know. I'm literally just like bombarding you with information. So it's I totally understand. This is why I love doing these on Facebook Live because it's recorded and then you can just go back and watch it.
Yes.
Um, okay, I do want to go over yet because that is the other one that you wanted to go over, and this is honestly just like modal verbs. Whew, let me tell you. Um, there's a lot.
Yeah, you did more than modal verbs.
Yeah.
Actually, you did the large concepts. I think yet and though we have to get another to explain those things.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
No, and
Yeah.
it's complete. I honestly, it's okay. This is why when we do the free classes like this, uh, I always ask, the winner, like I did with you, what do you want to study? What do you want to
Yeah.
go over? And then honestly, you're not the first person to say this. I've had other students, oh, anything that people want to practice, it's okay with me. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is your class. What do you want to learn, or what do you want to practice, or what do you have trouble with, right? And so if you tell me I have trouble with all of this, usually I'm like, well, just give me one thing. But modal verbs, I probably should have just stuck to modal verbs, but I had already said yes to explaining though and yet, and so I want to keep my promise to you. Which is why I
Yes.
prepared for it and I want to do it. Even if we go more than an hour. I don't know if you saw Sarwar's Facebook Live last week, where I think we did an hour and a half because his connection was faulty and internet and all of that. So I just kind of stayed on and I said, oh, this I want to give him his class and I didn't want to cheat him of any learning. And so it's the same with you. If you have this is your trouble area, of course I want to help you out. And then, I'm helping you out, but then it's live, so then other people can obviously join in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, thank you for sharing your knowledge, and thank you for making these slides. And
Yeah.
actually, it's so much bother for you. And
Nah, it's fine.
yeah.
Honestly, I enjoy it. I work from home, and so I think I've probably shared it on maybe other lives, and like I know for sure I've talked about it on the free speaking practice on Mondays. I work
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
home and I teach online, and so I am literally home Monday to Friday all day, unless I go out for grocery shopping or quick errands. But I'm pretty much home, and so this here is my my social time and my interaction with other human beings around the world. And I think I've also mentioned I used to travel a lot. And so I love traveling till I can get to meet people from around the world. And because now I'm not traveling, this is my way of kind of traveling through classes,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know if that makes
Virtually.
sense.
Yeah.
Virtually, exactly. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I love doing this. I love meeting people from all over the world. And so if I can, even if I'm not physically out there in the world, this is kind of my way of still traveling a little bit. So, and if I can help out, why not? But anyway, let's go
Yeah.
into yet. So yet, kind of like modal verbs, has lots of uses. So when we use yet as an adverb, um, this is here. This would be the starting in the past, but then continuing up until the present. So this is what we talked about earlier. There's no this here. This not. That's not there. So it's something it's an action that started in the past and is continuing until now. So
Yeah.
Kevin hasn't registered for class yet. So in the past, he didn't register, and now he still hasn't registered. So yeah, hasn't registered yet. Um, yet as an adverb in this sense, it's mostly used as a negative statement. If you notice, I haven't finished my breakfast yet, meaning I started eating breakfast 30 minutes ago and I didn't finish 10 minutes ago, I didn't finish 5 minutes ago, and even now I'm still not finished. And then in this situation, yet, again, if you notice, it's at the end of the sentence. Even if it's in a question. Has she emailed you yet? Like in the past, she didn't email you, and now she still hasn't emailed you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, warning, and I've already kind of said it in just explaining just now. We don't use yet to refer to something that has happened, right? That already happened. We would use already in this case. So she booked the flights already. So this is, she booked the flights in the past, right? We wouldn't say she has booked the flights yet, because like I explained up above, yet is something that started in the past and is still continuing on in the present. Booking the flights is something that was already finished in the past. And then the other warning is the word still. So we don't use yet to talk about events that are continuing. And that's not necessarily continuing past, like to the present. It's into the future now. So the example would be Elizabeth is still living in Manchester. She's not moving to London till next month. So she started living in Manchester 2 weeks ago. Right now, she still lives in Manchester, and she's going to live in Manchester for the rest of this month, for example. So it's an action that is continuing into the future. Started in the past and is continuing into the future. So in that situation, we would use still. So we wouldn't say Elizabeth is living yet in Manchester, no, or Elizabeth is yet living in Manchester, still no. Yeah, it's still. Using yet with negative statements. This basically shows that an event is expected to happen in the future. So Jason hasn't phoned yet, right? I'm saying it in a question, but in a statement, Jason hasn't phoned yet. That's more, again, it's at the end of the sentence, but it's saying that Jason hasn't called yet.
Yet.
Yeah. So this is to show that there's an expectation of something that's going to happen, right? Now, using yet with questions specifically, we can use them with affirmative questions, so positive questions. And these will show that the speaker, again, is expecting something to happen. So up above here was negative statements, right? This specific sentence, I said it as a question, which is, of course, it's okay as well. Jason hasn't phoned yet, right? That would be a question, but it's a negative one because of the hasn't, has not. That makes it negative. But here with positive questions or affirmative questions, again, we are expecting something to happen. Is he home yet? Has Jason phoned, or has Jason called, right? That's still the positive question. But with using, if we want to use yet with that question, is he home yet, right? Are we there yet? I think that's in a movie. I think it was really popular here in the US. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? That was, it was in a movie, Kids in a Road Trip. I don't remember the name of the movie, but yeah. So yet with questions in positive ways. Is he home yet? Has your passport arrived yet? Meaning that there's an expectation for something to happen in, like, the expectation is that it will happen or that it should have already happened, but there's some sort of expectation. Negative questions, kind of like how I said it up above. Negative questions show an even stronger expectation. This, I would say, is more specific to speaking versus writing. But again, like the sentence I gave up above, has Jason phoned yet? Or, yeah, has Jason phoned yet? It's kind of more, it's a question, but it's more like, has Jason phoned yet? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of more like that. Yeah. So again, hasn't Richard arrived yet? That's again a negative question. That's even more so. Haven't you done your homework? Wait, haven't you done your homework yet? Would be kind of like that. Um, Kind of like the example I just said. You don't always need to use yet. Like the question that I just said, haven't you done your homework? That again is understandable. It's okay. But if you say,
Yeah.
haven't you done your homework yet? That's even stronger. That's like, I'm frustrated because you haven't done your homework, or it just shows more emotion, basically.
Yeah.
Um, Now we did the negative statements before, but now if you want to use it in a positive statement, when we use yet in an affirmative statement, it shows that a situation is continuing, right? So even if we don't expect it to continue. So there's plenty of time yet. Here it would be like, I don't really think there's enough time for, whatever it is we're waiting for. Or we've got a lot more work to do yet. If I'm honest, I don't normally see or hear yet being used in this specific situation. Even as I'm saying it, it does sound a little bit weird to me because it's not very common. Um,
Yeah.
and so, again, kind of what we talked about earlier, if you use it in this way, grammatically it's correct. And this might just be me and my circle of friends, and who I'm not really sure, but it could be like a Native American English speakers. It could be just English in general. I'm not really sure about this specifically, but grammatically this is correct. Um, Common day-to-day usage, whether it's just in California or it's just in the US, I'm not sure, is not so common. Just so you know, just to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. With superlatives, right? Again, this is still being used as an adverb. Um, we use yet after the superlative. So the superlative here is best. Really quickly, best is the superlative because it's super, right?
Yeah.
I think the one below superlatives is. Oh, I just forgot the word. I forget. I forget what it's called. See, this is why grammar is not that important. Don't remember the names. Just know how to use it. But so here it would be like good, better, best, right? Best is the best, obviously. Best is super. But same thing with fast, faster, fastest, right? So you use yet after the superlative, fastest, right?
Yes.
Same thing here. Well, yeah, I just use fastest. But what would be another superlative? Um, Shortest. Anything basically ending in est is a superlative. There you go. Okay, we can also use yet as a conjunction. Basically, as a conjunction, it would mean but or nevertheless. So kind of like though in that situation. So many questions and yet so few answers. So many questions, though so few answers. Nah. So many questions, but so few answers. So many questions, however, there are few answers. Yeah. So in this, if you use it as a conjunction, it means but or nevertheless. You can use yet as emphasis, right? And this one again is specifically for speaking, I would say. So if you use yet as for emphasis, it means even. For example, the cook arrived with yet another plate of cake. Like, oh my goodness, more cake. So it's emphasis. The cook arrived with more or with another plate of cake. The cook arrived again with a plate of cake. That's kind of the emotion that we're going with when we're using yet as emphasis.
Yeah.
Then there is also as yet. As yet means more like up until now, but the situation will definitely change. So, the film shows you the most typical places as yet untouched by tourism and how to get there. So meaning the places are most typical, right? They're more, let's say they're more filled with nature, for example. Up until now, as yet, because they are untouched by tourism. Yeah. So this here meaning, I just want to highlight this. This here meaning that once tourism comes to this place, it's not going to be a typical place. It's not going to be full of nature, for example. So so as of right now, it's a typical place, but the situation will definitely change because once tourism arrives, then it'll change everything.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can think of another sentence really quick. This is also, honestly, this is also another usage of yet that is not super common, at least not in American English. It might be a little bit more common in British English, I think. My computer is cool as yet I start using it. I don't even know if that's correct. That doesn't even sound right to me. I'm not sure. If someone has an example of watching us on Facebook, watching us on Facebook Live of how to use as yet, please put it in there. I want to give another example because I can't think of it right now on the spot. But yeah, so basically it just means that like up until now the situation is one way, but after now, the situation will definitely change. Have yet or have yet to, and then be yet to, right? These are more formal contexts. We use these to refer to events that are necessary and that must happen at some time, but they have not happened at the moment of like my speaking it. For example, the price of the tickets for the concert has yet to be decided. So the decision right now, as I'm saying it, has not been decided. The decision has not been made. Sorry. Yeah. So it has yet to be decided, meaning before in the past the decision wasn't made, and even now as I'm saying it, the decision still hasn't been made. Yeah. Does that make a little bit of sense? Yeah. So this would be using it as like with yet to. So has yet to, are yet to, be yet to. Oh, Dulanjali has an example for us. The project is only in the initial phase as yet, but it's looking quite promising. Nice, very good. Did you hear that, Karu?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Nice. Thank you so much, Dulanjali. Alrighty. Let's try and practice some of these. So remember, already is used how? Do you remember? I know I threw a lot of information at you. Yeah, no, I'm just asking you. No. Do you remember? Well, we can just go over it. Up here. Here it is. Warning. So when something has already happened, we use already. And when we want to talk about events that are continuing, we use still. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what we think. He blank plays football at 40. 40 meaning 40 years old. So he already plays football at 40. He still plays football at 40. He yet plays football at 40. And of course, those of you on the live can also participate. But what do you think, Karu?
I think the answer would be still.
Still? Yeah, he still plays football at 40. And Karina agrees with you still. Yeah, very good. Exactly. So in this situation, it's more like, let's say maybe he started playing football when he was 20, right? So the action playing football started in the past. Right now he's 40, so he still plays football. And maybe he's going to continue into the future playing football.
In the future, yeah.
Yeah. Let's try another one. I haven't made the coffee already. I haven't made the coffee still. Or I haven't made the coffee yet.
I haven't made the coffee yet.
Yet. Nice. Very good. Yeah. Super easy, right? I always think it's easy.
With the explanation, it made me super easy.
Nice. Very good. But yes, exactly. So the Coffee was not made in the past, and even now in the present, it's still not made. Yeah, so I haven't made the
Yes.
coffee yet. Exactly. Let's do one more. Karina sends an applause. Have you blank paid the bill? Have you already paid the bill? Have you still paid the bill? Or have you yet paid the bill? What do you think, Karu?
Have you already paid the bill?
Nice. Yeah, very good. Exactly. Already paid the bill. Exactly. So paid is in the past, right? But already meaning present tense. It brings it to the present. Very good. Yeah. And of course, people in the chat agree with you. I love it. Alrighty. Whew. That is all I've got for you today, Karu. Do you have any other questions?
No, actually, no question. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And again, though I won this time, I will continue to join your sessions.
Oh, that's
Monday
awesome.
speaking session.
Yes, of course. I always love it when people join because that's just speaking practice. That's really all it is. And so,
Yeah.
no, thank you so much for bringing this topic to us. I know it was a whole lot of information, and I just wanted to help. So I'm glad that you brought the topic to us. It's something that we haven't covered before. So obviously, I was gonna help.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem, no problem. But yeah, so the free speaking practice on Mondays, that's at 8 a.m. For those of you watching us on the live and on the recorded video, that event is always posted on our Facebook page, Eastside Learning Center. And that is the same Zoom link every single week. So if you have it one time, you can just save it, and then it's the same Zoom link every week. I don't change it. Yeah, but then of course we also have private classes with our teachers, not just me, but I have other teachers that work with me. So if you want to continue this lesson maybe, or if you want to study something else, obviously we're here to help. Those are not free though, because obviously we still have to make some money and this is our job. But what else? Oh, we also have courses available. So courses kind of like this, how you saw today. You can buy the course and then you just learn the information on your own. You do see me on the video in the course, and that is, me trying to explain things, because sometimes it's hard to explain things in writing versus explaining it in video or speaking, right? I think speaking is a little bit easier to explain different ideas and new concepts. So yeah, those courses are all of course live as well, so you can purchase those as well. We did just reach 1,100 something likes on Facebook, so we actually just gave away 50% discount on any course that you wanted. I believe that is already finished, but stay tuned because we are constantly, like today, giving away free classes, giving away discounts to our courses. The private classes, even though there is a set price and obviously you're working one-on-one with, one student, one teacher, even though those are not free, we can work with you, so you can buy hours, or you can, obviously we can just negotiate the price with that. Our main goal is just to help out as much as possible. Really quickly, Flor wants to know when is the next live. The live classes like this one here, we do on for the winners of the people who join us on Mondays. So let me explain. Or Karu, do you want to explain it?
Yeah, it's just simple. You have to join our Monday free practice class. It's in Sri Lankan time. It's in 8:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm. In California, it's 8 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the speaking session, we have a raffle draw, and in that the teacher Isabel includes all the names of the participants of that Monday speaking class, and then you will have a chance to get a opportunity like this.
Yeah.
In a live session.
Exactly. Very good. Exactly what you said. So you do have to join the free speaking practice on Mondays, and it's not just like you join at the beginning and then you leave, or you join at the end, because I'm the only one there moderating and the only one there leading that session. Sometimes we have a student leading the session, which of course, if you want to lead a speaking practice, like you bring the topic and then you act as the teacher, that's also really great practice for speaking. But if you want to do that, of course you can, you just let me know. But so while the students are in the breakout rooms discussing the topic, I'm somewhere else on another website trying to put in all of the people, the names of the people who are joining us. So I try to make sure that you at least are actually in the session, right? So if you join the last 5 minutes, most likely I just don't have time to put your name into that list. But yeah, like Karu said, it's only for the people, these Facebook Lives are only for the people who join and participate in the Monday speaking practice. So with that, Flor, I can't tell you when the next one is. I just know that it's once a week because the speaking practice is on Mondays. And then we get the winner for that day. And then I talk to the winner and I say, hey, what do you want to study? And then when do you want to meet? And so we've had free lives typically in the mornings around this time, usually like Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But sometimes some students need to do it the exact opposite. So for me in California right now, it's morning, but sometimes they need to do it in the afternoon because for them, it's also afternoon after work, or it's after school sometimes, or maybe it's their morning, right? Because it's like Karu is from Sri Lanka, so she's on the other side of the world from me. So typically the lives are on like Wednesday, Thursdays, or Fridays. It can either be morning or afternoon. So I can't really tell you. But yeah, you can just stay tuned. Those are always posted here on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. Whew. All right.
Yes.
Dulanjali, thank you so much, teacher. You are the best teacher I have ever seen. Yay! Alrighty, Karu, do you have any other questions or comments or anything else you need before we finish up today?
Yeah, no question. Everything was very clear and very useful for me, the practice. And I would like to practice those in the Monday speaking sessions also.
Nice. Yeah, that would be awesome. Honestly, even if you don't tell people, hey, excuse me, I'm going to practice modal verbs today. You don't have to announce it, right? You can just practice it on your own and you know that you're practicing. That's really good. I'm glad. I'm very glad that you are taking away some information at least. And of course, this is Facebook Live, so if you need to watch this again, you're welcome to. It's recorded, of course. I know I went kind of super very fast, but it's just because it was a lot of information and I really wanted to just give it all to you. But yeah, so if you Karu, or anyone watching us on the video have any questions, just send them over my way. I have an assistant who also helps me answer messages. Sometimes some of you might have seen or been messaging with her as well. Flor, yes, I am born in California, but I am Mexican American, so también hablo español. But yeah, anyway, we are pretty much done for today. We are at an hour and a half. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. Alrighty, well, if there are no more questions, thank you so much, Karu, for joining me today, for bringing this topic to me today. Thank you, all of you watching us on the Facebook Live, for obviously participating, for joining us, for asking your questions. That's what this is all about. Honestly, this is just helping you all. We are on Facebook, as you know, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. We have a website. We have an email. We've got all of that stuff. Everything is posted everywhere all the time. You can just search for it, or if you don't find it and you need it, just let us know. We can send that information to you as well. But yeah, don't forget to, like, comment, share, react, save, subscribe. Yeah, right. All of these different social media platforms have their own little things. Click all of those, but most importantly, share with whoever you think wants to learn English, or whoever you think this will help as well. With that, I am out. I am completely talked out. I need to go have breakfast now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much, Karu. I will see you on Monday, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Alrighty. Very good. See ya.
See you.